Hi, my name is Ciara Moran and I'd like to share my FND recovery story in the hope that I can inspire others to find what works for them. There's a lovely recovery story on YouTube by Jamie Lascelles where she shares that physiotherapy, among other things, really helped with her recovery. My recovery treatment is very different to Jamie's. So in this video, I'll share what works for me and try to encourage others to find what works for them. It's my aim with this video to empower others to become participants in their FND recovery rather than solely patients. Please note that I'm not a trained medical professional. I'm a structural engineer turned yoga teacher. The first thing I did was learn how to breathe properly. I was a dysfunctional breather, breathing from my chest, short, shallow breaths, and breathing through my mouth. And when I was stressed or anxious, my breathing would get even more short and more shallow. This did nothing for my nervous system. I learned that we can totally regulate our nervous system with our breath, and that's exactly what I did. When my nervous system calmed down, my symptoms calmed down too. In my experience, I was very sensitive to any changes when I was struggling with symptoms. So I started very slowly by elongating my exhales. I'd try to exhale for a count of 8. I'd consciously bring my attention to my exhales throughout the day. When I was cooking the dinner, watching TV, absolutely everything. This made a huge difference to me straight away. I started to sleep well for the first time in many, many years. I then started to concentrate on breathing into my belly and matching the length of my inhales to my exhales. This is the way I breathe habitually now. You can see that my chest area isn't moving at all, while my belly is moving in and out with every breath, and I'm breathing evenly. The changes in my breathing, while I noticed an improvement in my sleep straight away, it took months and a lot of conscious effort every day for me to breathe like this habitually. But it can be done, and it's the easiest way to regulate our nervous system. The second thing I did was I learned how to accept my symptoms and not fear them, to accept them as simply a nervous system overload response. And I know this is scary. I've been on my kitchen floor on my own in the middle of the night, unable to move, unable to call out, with the right side of my body contorted, hoping that the dog wouldn't sit on my face. So I know how hard it is to accept symptoms and not resist them. A book that really helped me was Dare by McDonagh. I'll put a link in the description box below. The subtitle of this book is The New Way to End Anxiety and Stop Panic Attacks. McDonagh's approach to stopping panic attacks really helped me in my approach to my symptoms. It taught me not to fear them, instead to accept them and know that it's just a nervous system response and I just gotta wait it out. And simply knowing we can't think our way out of symptoms, we just gotta let them pass. When we do that and try to think of a way out, and believe me, I've tried so many times, we're just adding fuel to the fire and making things harder for ourselves. When I accept what is happening to me and concentrate on nourishing myself and activating my parasympathetic nervous system with gentle movement and rest and focus on enjoyment, my symptoms fade away. Understanding that I'm a highly sensitive person has been absolutely huge for me. I hold tension in my body easily, and my nervous system is more sensitive than most. Another book that helped me here to understand myself and my nervous system was The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine and Aron. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. From this, I learned that we always have to work with our nervous system. Our nervous system is based on a lot of things. Genetics, our past. Personally, given my past, it's easy to see how my nervous system might be more sensitive than most, and accepting that was a huge part in my recovery. The fourth thing I did was to develop a daily self-care routine. I have a daily yoga and meditation routine to keep my nervous system balanced. As I said, I hold tension in my body really easily, so daily yoga keeps my body free from stress and tension and I feel very balanced. Daily yoga is also a great tool because it combines the breathing exercises to maintain correct breathing. For me, having a daily self-care routine works to keep my nervous system balanced and regulated. So instead of turning to self-care when we have symptoms, I have self-care every day that keeps symptoms away. One thing I would recommend if you're considering starting yoga is to find the right style of yoga for you. I found yoga classes too strong when I started first. Yoga in studio is more of a form of exercise than a calming tool for a nervous system. Again, it depends on the type of yoga. Restorative yoga, hatha yoga might be suitable. What did work for me was daily yoga at home, just me, my yoga mat and a book, doing really simple, gentle movements, consciously slowing down my breathing and breathing into my belly and moving with my breath. You might like to try my gentle everyday yoga series on YouTube on my channel at Ciara's Home Yoga. My yoga practice has changed a lot in the last number of years. As my nervous system settled, I'm able for classes in studios now, and I love them. I'm just saying this so that if you're starting, to start slowly and mindfully if you're thinking about introducing yoga as a daily self-care practice. The neuropsychiatrist I attended also told me I was disassociated from my body, and yoga was a great tool for getting me back in touch with my body, my feelings, how to read emotions, which I simply wasn't able to do before my diagnosis. I already talked about how I trained my breathing to breathe properly, but I also developed a relationship with my nervous system by tuning into my body and knowing when I need to rest and when I need to move or release tension or energy from my body. We all need to move and we all need to rest. Rest for me means not doing anything physically draining. What worked for me was playing around with that balance and getting it right between rest and movement. I already said that our nervous system responds really well to deep breathing, but it also responds really well when our senses come alive. Sight, smell, touch, sound, taste. Mindful walks have been really beneficial to me, where I make mental lists of 5 things I can see that are linked to the current season, 5 things I can hear, and 5 things I can feel in my body, like my feet on the ground, the breeze in my face, my leg muscles being activated with every step. And the last thing, 5 things I'm grateful for. I do this over and over again. It's very grounding to the present moment and balancing for a nervous system. The 6th thing that helped me was psychotherapy. I don't know if I would have been able to achieve all the steps I just mentioned without the help of a therapist. My therapist helped me address the feelings that I was running from by never allowing myself to rest. No wonder my nervous system was overworked. My therapist taught me about needs like fun, freedom, rest, relaxation, safety and security. Needs that up until this point I had never addressed. I also learned about compassion, and she paced me very slowly, as when I first saw my therapist, I was very disconnected from my body. She taught me that it was safe to feel into emotions that I'd learned to switch off from. Before starting in therapy, I would get upset and angry and never know why I was, and I certainly didn't have the skills to verbalise my needs to myself or to anyone else, but now I can. With my therapist's support, I allowed myself to be good enough, and it was my therapist who recommended the Highly Sensitive Person book, and that really helped me accept myself. I was warned that my symptoms might get worse when starting psychotherapy, and in my case that did happen. But knowing that it was going to happen made it a little bit easier when it did happen. I found therapy very tough and draining initially, but I'm so much happier now and I'm so glad I stuck with it. So to finish, I will say that in my recovery, timing was very important. I did start with my therapist twice. The first time was a few years prior to my diagnosis, and when symptoms started, I didn't stick with it. So please believe me when I say that if psychotherapy is something that you think will help you, stick with it and work your way through those symptoms. It's so worth it, and it does help. The medication as prescribed by my neuropsychiatrist helped me. I'm going to leave it at that because, as I said, I'm not a trained medical professional, and this video is more about what we can do for ourselves and our nervous systems in conjunction with whatever medication we're prescribed. So that's it. The above steps mean that I can live well and have more energy now than I did when I was in my 20s. If you're struggling with FND, I hope that I've inspired you to try something new, and I've shown you that recovery is really possible. I rarely get symptoms these days. The last time I did was at the start of lockdown in March, when I was homeschooling, cooking, cleaning, and then my dog got fleas, and I had to fumigate the house, hoovering, moving furniture, spraying, hoovering again. It was a nightmare, and it was just too much for me physically to do. Turns out I'm not Superwoman, but this time I didn't get stuck in my symptoms. I knew I just did too much and I just had to wait for my nervous system to calm down. I concentrated on nourishing myself with gentle yoga and I focused on enjoyment. Where my focus goes is very important, I've noticed. And my symptoms fizzled out in 5 days. In the past, prior to my diagnosis, they would have lasted for 5 months or longer, where I just couldn't function day to day. I haven't seen my neurologist in 4 years and I've been discharged from the neuropsychiatry department. I last saw somebody from that department 3.5 years ago. I feel I have the skills now to look after myself and keep my nervous system balanced. I hope this video has helped you, and please remember that if you're struggling with symptoms right now, you might be sensitive to any changes you make, so take things slowly. Nourish yourself with deep abdominal breathing. And seriously, if I can recover and can live a happy and healthy life now, anyone can. Discover what works for you. Keep a diary and study yourself. Become your own investigator. Try 1 or 2 of the things that helps me, or try acupuncture, tai chi, energy healing, walks in nature, barefoot walking. Try it all, but remember timing. Something that doesn't suit you now might suit you at a different time. And ask yourself, is this right for me right now? Always work with your nervous system and not against it. Doing the same thing every day and expecting different results is a losing battle. And believe me, I tried for years. So my hope is that I inspire you to try something new. Do let me know in the comments below if this video helped you. Thank you.